Hi, this is Bishop Craig in Lansing, and this is take one for the week of the 19th of December. Peace be with you. Looking over my calendar, it is quiet for the next 2 weeks. We will respond to things that need to be responded to, but as far as meetings and Zoom and all of that, it is quiet. And I am praying it remains that way, but we will be ready to respond if it doesn't. Pastor Anderson is preaching at Zion in Cadillac on Christmas Eve. Pastor Sprang is preaching at Emmanuel in Big Rapids on January 2nd. We will release our Lessons and Carols service from last year. It's a lovely service this week to congregations that want it. And it's a lovely service, and just like congregations do the same lessons and carols every year, so are we. And then there will be a virtual Christmas, second Sunday of Christmas service on January 2nd that I will be preaching at, and we will release that the week after Christmas for congregations that want it. So if you choose to go online, the Synod can provide you worship services for December 26th and January 2nd, so everybody can get a little bit of a break, because I think we all need one. I'm not preaching Christmas Eve, and it's probably a good thing that I'm not, as the sermon that is coming together in my mind is sure to upset some people. A few weeks ago, we were at Messiah in Constantine, and Pastor Maria, who is the stated supply there, had a nativity set from Africa, and during the children's sermon, she pointed out to the kids that the shepherds in this nativity scene, this nativity set, are children. So what we have is the angels bringing the good news of the birth of a baby, Jesus, to children. I was intrigued by that, and I wondered, is that true? So I spent some time online and reading and trying to find out the age of the shepherds that were out in the field, keeping watch over their flocks by night. And of course, there is no age registration of those shepherds. But we do know that in the Old Testament, at least, shepherds were often, but not always, children. David was a shepherd boy. So what would it be like, I thought, as I thought about preaching on Christmas Eve, to be inspired by the notion that the angels bring the good news of a babe wrapped in swaddling cloths and lying in a manger to children. And it occurred to me that if that was to happen this Christmas, the angels might show up at the schools in Oxford, Michigan, and say to kids who are afraid because of a school shooting, be not afraid. That a baby who is been born, that God has come in the form of a kid like you, and that our God understands what it is to be afraid and to be vulnerable and to be out of control. This baby is quite vulnerable. So God is not only with you, God is like you. God is one of you. And I might go on to say that this vulnerable baby is going to grow up and become a teacher. And this teacher is going to teach that everybody has value, that everyone is loved, that we don't need to follow a way of hate, that we can welcome rather than exclude, and that their time is coming when we won't need to worry about people bringing guns to school, because everyone will know that they are loved and accepted and valued. And that this teacher is going to be killed when he puts his body between a shooter and his students. And this teacher is going to be raised to new life to show that his way of love and acceptance and welcome will not be stopped and will not be silenced, because the teacher is God. And so we can dare, perhaps, to lay down our guns, to be a little bit more loving, to try to be accepting, to certainly be welcoming to all people. And the kids that are receiving this good news, maybe they could grow up and make the world different and better, because people like me don't seem to be doing a very good job of it. Maybe they can find a way to make schools safe and parents responsible to at least lock up guns. Now, I expect if I was to preach that sermon on Christmas Eve, people would be upset with me because I'm politicizing the Christmas story as if it had nothing to do with politics. And yet, the story begins. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria. That's a pretty political place to begin the story of Jesus' birth. Right up there with the politics we heard a few weeks ago in the coming of John the Baptist. Jesus comes to make our world better. And I think that's the good news that kids today need to hear. God is in it with us. God is one of us. And God is committed to make their world, our world, the world, better for all people. The last thing I guess I need to talk about is COVID. Heard yesterday that the Radio City Rockettes have canceled their Christmas extravaganza, and I think we need to all take a deep breath here. If we're not vaccinated, we need to get the 2 shots and the booster. We need to get vaccinated. I'm hearing that if you're not vaccinated and you go to places, the likelihood is you're going to get COVID. We need to begin to think about what the next phase of this pandemic is going to be like. And I encourage pastors and congregational councils to have the conversation. What is our plan when COVID gets bad again this winter? How will we know when it's time to step back, to go online, and to get back to what we need to do in order to keep people safe, to keep them from dying? This is about more than individual rights. This is about more than my right to worship in the way I want. We need to do what we can to keep the hospitals from becoming overrun, and we need to do what we can to keep the virus from spreading. And that's about masks, social distancing, getting vaccinated, and if need be, when the time comes, staying home. So begin to think about that now, and be ready for that time to come. These are hard words and hard realities, but I keep hearing that Michigan is among the places that the experts are worried about. So let's join them in their worry. Be not afraid, the angel says, for to us is born this day a Savior who is Christ the Lord. You will find a babe wrapped in swaddling cloths and lying in a manger. This good news comes to us. It is sacred and sure, regardless of how we do or do not celebrate it. Jesus is ours forever. I wish for you a very, very meaningful Christmas in whatever way we end up celebrating it. And we will be here if you need us, and see you again as things pick up in the new year. I'm Bishop Craig. This is Take One. The peace of Christ be with you always. Amen.